government by removing judicial discretion as an important aspect of judging. Two, in doing so, it began the subordination of the judiciary to the executive arm. We have a law school here. There's another law school there, and I hear there are to be other law schools elsewhere. Apart from training lawyers, they need to look at our legal history and start to deal with some of these issues. The law, number 3, created an incentive for some members of the police arm of the executive to harass persons with appearances of which they disapproved. In time, these powers and this antipathy was extended beyond Rastafarians. And several other persons had been targeted vindictively. And the trust in the justice system has been eroding consistently since the authority and power of judges was attacked. Created an accommodation for mischievous and vengeful persons to settle personal grievances by actively framing other persons. Remember the warning of Mr. William Seabright in the committee stage. He warned that it would happen. It has happened. Ultimately, the growing power of the constabulary, especially in the face of the shrinking pocketbooks of the finances of the country, lured many of the constables, and I use that frame to cover the entire constabulary, into themselves becoming law breakers. And as this happened over a period of 50 years, nearly 50 years, it has adversely affected our justice system. But in bringing it to a close, Madam Chairman, I regret to say we do not learn from our errors. Almost 10 years after the enactment of the 1964 amendment to the Dangerous Drugs Act, the Parliament of the day enacted legislation that imposed draconian minimum prison sentences over which judges were given no discretion. In 1963, 6 days after the Coral Gardens, the headline was "Stamp Out Ganja, Drive, House Group to Draw Up Stiffer Penalties." In 1974, following the shooting of 6 prominent Jamaicans, the headline included the following: "Total war declared on gun crimes, indefinite detention for illegal arms possession, opposition pledges full support." They could hardly do less, given their track record. Some things did change over the decade. In 1974, the Fused Jamaican Bar Association protested the gun court law. The bar put its services at the disposal of the nation and challenged several aspects of the gun court legislation. It succeeded eventually before the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in the celebrated case of Hines against the Director of Public Prosecutions. This was a major improvement on 1963. I have searched the records for any protest from the legal profession against the Prevention of Crimes Act that has been harpooned through Parliament in such indecent haste. I do not say none was made. I found none. There was a lonely protest of Carl Rattray, fresh from his advocacy in the Coral Gardens murder case. In a letter to the editor of the Gleaner, after speaking about the evil and the severe jurisprudential wrong of having minimum mandatory sentences, he said, quote, "As to the viciousness of the penalties, I will only say that this method of stemming crime has never proved effective and will only stigmatize the courts of the country in the eyes of citizens as a place where brutal punishment is meted out to the offender. Let the comfortable, complacent people in this nation take note of these things and beware. I'd like to find out if Shadeen Pratt is here. We just ask at the door if she's here. Shadeen Pratt. Shadeen Pratt is a library student. Is she there? Of the University of the West Indies, library studies student. I knew what I wanted to put together in this lecture because I've already, as told you, it's part of what I have written and I'm going to publish. But I had to do a lot more to put it together while my mind was being distracted and my professional integrity was being assaulted by erstwhile friends. I heard that Shadeen Pratt was out of work. And at my own expense, I employed her, and she went where I told her to go to find the 40-odd footnotes that verify the accuracy of every statement that I have made in this lecture. I particularly wanted her to be here today, not only to acknowledge it, her contribution, but today is her 24th birthday. Thank you.
Good evening, each and everyone. Now, my views about Carl Garden, I can't begin it, so I have to take for myself. I have suffered a lot of agony, and I never do anything. I never go to jail, nothing that was wrong. I was pregnant at the time, and I had to have my baby before time. I had to strain to bring my baby. Through the agony of what I see my brethren was going through. I leave North Gully and I went out to Barnett Street police station. It was black. It was black with people. And when I look, I saw Alexander Bustamante stand out in the road with his hands at his side. And he said, "Bring in all Rastas, dead or alive, what Bo can hold, police station will hold." That was his remarks. I took him from the Friday night to have my baby, and I couldn't have it until Saturday night because my back was open. At the time, I asked to tie my king man in a mattress and lay him up in a corner to secure him from Babylon, to take him and to ill-abuse him. And now I am asking if there is any recompense for I and I, my child that is dead. What about that? There is a lot of judges here. I don't know them. But my views is we need some recompense. Who is here and the family of those that are gone to ill treatment from the wicked hands of Babylon. And also Bustamante.
Greetings to my brethren and sistren and my brother and sister that is present here to hear the presentation of a little bit of Carol Garden. You know, before you give a full presentation of Carol Garden, we the Rastafari brethren suffer ignorance by government, by society and religion. We never count as people. Therefore, in the time of Carol Garden, it come in like the dreams of the ruler come to pass. To anglos the Rastafari community with brutality and unmercy, as inhumanness, it were meted out unto I and I. For in Carroll Garden were done, the happening did happen by a few brethren then. I won't say there is not Rasta. By a few brethren in one area of the parish of St. James. And it spread clear to Spanish Town where a Rasta man dead like dog. Where is the justice for the innocent with the no justice? Murderation upon murderation in St. James, in Trelawney especially, and in Hanover and Westmoreland, but especially with the brethren that were in St. James. For I live 3.5 miles from Montego Bay, the capital. And the police, them seek in the village, like when man going to the wilderness to seek wild hog, to show their brutality and their opposition against Rasta. For when we rise as Rastafari, brethren, beloved, believe me, we trod with the 66 King James Version, and that we take out that to the people, seeing, to edify and to reform their mind from the colonial teachment and ignorance, and ignore black people as no one, no nation. See, we acknowledge even the peace of His Majesty Haile Selassie for cutting it up, ups and down. When His Majesty came here in 1966, and I could remember when he was in King's House, he sent the Commissioner of Police at that time, the Honorable Gordon Landon, to the Rastafari brethren, and said to ask them why they wear their locks that way. And brethren answer according to Numbers 6 chapter of the Bible. So we were not hooligan or cannibal. But as it said in one Jamaica proverb, that vexation caused Rodney to dance. We have to love one another. The government have to love Rasta. Rasta grew up here. Rasta born here according to naturality. His Majesty said, we, the Ethiopian and the Jamaican, are blood brother. We must show that love and recognition to everyone. Stop ignoring Rasta. We acknowledge ourselves as prophet, divine seer of the Almighty Haile Selassie. We declare things that our forefathers never declared, for they weren't fair to declare it. We know all the tricks that set up against an eye. But no weapon that take up by the evil man shall overthrow an eye as Rasta. Perfect love and peace and unity be upon us all. And you swear to it, my brother, the little youth them out there with the gun. How the gun come out there? Marcus Garvey had a speech in his lecturing that the sparkle of him that come out from him tail root shall rise up thousands of young lions in his days upon this administration. You know what I accept? I accept Rasta as the conscious lion heart, lion-minded people. And I accept the tiger cat as the youth them that come up out there. They need more opportunity in the country, more resource to let the youth them live and to show them better life. Show them the truth that we are all human beings. No man here or woman ever creates supreme over another. Let us unite ourselves together and recognize the face of man and woman. For him that spit in man's face, you spit in the Almighty face. You never go spit temporal spit from the start of thrones, and here in our individual, the Almighty is against you. So let love and purity and honesty rule amongst you and I. One love, one heart.